Andrew McCart, iFLTV. It's been a while, Mr. Dave Coldwell. How are you, sir?
Very good, thanks, mate. Friday, just had the last boxing session in the gym. Good week, mate. Good week. Got Dan Howard boxing next week on Channel 5, Wasserman Show
I'll
in
be there.
Newcastle. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Definitely. And Dan Toward, one of them. We will talk about your stable because, like I said, Dan Toward, you've got Lerone back, you've got Robbie
Intense.
Price coming back, you've got such a Ellis Price as well, you've got Stevie Cairns, all these
Yeah,
young kids that are going to come through. So we'll touch on all that. And believe it or not, like I said to you before I pushed record here, I've got three fighters now as well, which I've had I'm 2-0 as a coach, let's just say. I've had two fights in the corner now. So it's I'm enjoying it. And I can't
good,
wait to get to
good,
the stage where you're at, which is more
good.
hands-on for me, and I'm enjoying it, like I say. But we'll talk more about that. The reason why I wanted to talk to you, Dave, is the biggest fight of the year. Mike Tyson versus
Please, please, please.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Before we talk about the fight itself, I just want to get your opinion on the fight being made and Mike Tyson fighting at 58 years old. And I've seen loads of fighters and loads of pundits and ex-fighters say this should not be happening. Are you in the same boat? Yep.
And but my opinion, I understand why it's happening. Don't get it twisted. I understand why it's happening. It's happening because Jake Paul is a huge name, has a huge following, unbelievable success in his own field, social media, his own stardom, through hard work, through knowing what to do. I don't knock any of that. I get what he's doing. And he's using Mike Tyson's name to grow even bigger, to make even more money. And I just don't. It don't. Mike Tyson's 58 years old, and it don't sit well with me. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not when it was made. I'm not a fan of it. Now I've seen the weigh-in, and pictures of the weigh-in, and I'm just not. I'm not a fan of it. It's 58 years old, and yes, it's Mike Tyson, and he can still punch. But Mike Tyson is 58 years old, hasn't won a fight for over 20 years, hasn't boxed for 19 plus 19 and something years. Um, and his last two fights as a professional were sad losses against Danny Williams and Kevin McBride was the one. It's not Mike Tyson. It's not Iron Mike Tyson. This is a version of Mike Tyson. This is a more, you know, we've seen him. We've seen him. The reoccurrence of Mike Tyson. This version of him is more of a civilian, in movies, great interviews, he's shown his personality, a light a shade of his personality, a retired fighter, and now he's come back for a dance with Jake Paul at 58 years old, and I haven't, we've seen it before, faded names, retired, past the best names. It's that adrenaline buzz that you know the all eyes on you. I get why the attraction's there for Tyson, the 20 mil or whatever he's reportedly be getting. I get why you're doing it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I understand why Jake Paul's doing it. Don't get me wrong. Um, the gripe that I've got with it, and I think people, I've said a few things before, and people, mainly Jake Paul fans, saying I'm hating on him and this, and Mike Tyson would still do you and so. Well, yeah, of course it would. I'm not saying he's great for 58, but my issue is when Jake Paul comes out with comments that this is going to be one of the biggest wins in boxing history. Oh my god, that shit. I get why he's doing it, so I have to be a little bit see it from afar because I understand he's talking to his following, his people that don't have a clue about boxing and just think like, oh yeah, they know Mike Tyson is the better Mike Tyson. Yeah. And so it boosts his standing. So I understand why you're saying that. But from a boxing man's perspective, and somebody that's been in the sport for 34 years, and somebody that's saw Mike Tyson in his heyday, that's seeing the top fighters that are around today and the big fights that I've watched, been at just throughout history, for him to talk about this being as one of the biggest fights in boxing history, I'm like, shut up, man. It's just bullshit. And and then I think he said another comment where beating Tyson's gonna, justify or qualify him to fight Canelo. Come on. Again, I get that's speaking to his minions, but this is in the boxing world. You're bringing in Canelo, and it's like, shut up. It's just bullshit. And that's where it irritates me. And that's why I would love to see Tyson go out there and smash him, knock him spark out, and say, there you go. You got beat by a 58-year-old version of me. A 58-year-old version of me that 20 years ago I couldn't beat the likes of Kevin McBride.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a 27-year-old man saying this. It's different. It's different. And I'd love that to happen. But unfortunately, everything's stacked in his favor. 14-ounce gloves on. I'd like him to fight. If this this is happening, why not fight Mike Tyson with 10-ounce gloves on? If you're gonna say, oh yeah, and back your boasts up saying that this is a valid version of Tyson, despite his age, 58, let him wear 10-ounce gloves on. Because you caught one shot at 58 years old with 10-ounce gloves on off Tyson, you're getting put to sleep still. But the flip side is, even if Tyson's legs get him there, how long can they keep getting him there? Because your legs, it's not the power, it's the legs trying to get there, the timing, and also getting hit at 58 is different to getting hit when you're 28. We've seen it so many times. As fighters get old, the punch resistance isn't there. The damage that punches do to you is different. You're not a young man. So and listen, he was ill. What? How many months ago?
Yeah.
He was in a fucking wheelchair and walking stick. So these are the reasons why I'm not a fan of this fight.
The thing with Mike Tyson as well, you mentioned it's not the Iron Mike Tyson,
No.
but I think we saw maybe the old Tyson with that slap at the weigh-in when he stood on his toe and he just went scud, slapped him a little bit. And when Eddie Hawani done the interview after it, he said the talking's done and walked right off the stage. That reminded me of the old Tyson where you think he doesn't.
No, still, no, I'm not having that. Still, that's a muted version of Mike Tyson because he slapped him. Remember when him and Lennox Lewis went at it?
Yeah.
Do you think Tyson was looking at slaps there?
No.
No. You know what? Was it Mitch Blood Green when he chinned before in a car park or something like that? He didn't go to slap him. So no, this still isn't the old Mike Tyson. A little bit seeped out, but it's still a more civilian version. And listen, it might all we don't know. It might all be staged anyway for views and stuff like that. It's a Jake Paul show, so it's all drama, theatrics, and about views and numbers. But yeah, I just listen. It'd be amazing if I wake up on Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, and I look at my feed and it says Mike Tyson sensationally knocks out Jake Paul. I'll be straight on the TV watching it, guaranteed. I'd love that to happen. I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan. I remember the ring walks, the stare downs, the aura that he carries himself with. It was sad seeing how he went to in each of his losses, even the Buster Douglas fight where you see him on all fours and getting the gum shield. Each of his losses are sad because of that aura, because of that Tyson that we know of. And then you fast forward the years. So to see him at 58, it's going to be even sadder, and so that's why I'm not a fan of it.
I know I'm probably the same. If I take away my journalistic, if you want to call me a journalist, hat off, I'm probably in the same boat as you because, like I said to you before we pushed, well, I'm doing my coaching now, and I've got young fighters in the gym, and sometimes I toy around with them at 42 years of age, and they're 21, 19. like even at 42, my mind is telling me everything's okay, but my
Yeah,
body's a lot slower.
yeah,
My body
yeah.
tired. You mentioned the legs. My legs go a lot quicker, even if I'm doing a body spa. And being at 58, nearly 60, it's like I don't want him to get hurt. Definitely
Yeah.
not. Like you, I see him the $20 million. If you ask me to go and fight bloody Usyk or Joshua or Daniel Dubois, Tyson, whatever, I'll fight them for 20 million.
Of course. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you see why he's doing it. I just hope that
Understood.
because listen, you can say what you want about Jake Paul. He has knocked out a lot of his fighters with that one punch concussive, his opponents with that one. I just hope that Mike Tyson gets through this. And like you say, if we wake up tomorrow morning and the headlines are Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, what's going to be your emotions, Dave?
I'll be fucking buzzing. Guaranteed, I'll be buzzing because it's almost. And again, don't take this the wrong way, but it's almost an insult that the guy's talking about being a serious contender in the world of professional boxing.
Mm.
But look at his record of who he's fighting. You're talking about, these one punch knockouts. Great, he can fight, but you can't. I'm not knocking his work ethic and shit like that. But stack him up against other prospects, proper prospects in the game that haven't got the millions of followers, and you look at Queensbury's prospects, you look at Eddie Hearn's, Matchroom's prospects, look at the other prospects in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they carried on, if they was fighting the guys that this guy's fighting, they wouldn't be talked as a serious contender. They'd be crucified because it's the influencer world, and it's fine, it's cool, and I ain't got a problem with that. It's like Misfits, I ain't got a problem with that because it's staying in your own lane, and it's great. If that's what you want to do, there you go. As long as everybody's safe and nobody gets hurt, fair enough. But you can't have that as your body of work and then talk about being elite and talk about being a real contender. And I look at that. He's picked out Tyson's name because he's Jake Paul. He can fight whoever he wants to. He can fight whoever he wants to fight because he's earned that through his popularity and through his work away from boxing to become a star and become a huge name in social media, in influencer, and in the new generation. So he's earned the right in terms of be able to say, no, you know what? I'm not fighting. I want to fight him. I want to. Here's a big load of money. Are you going to fight me? The other guy's going to go, yes. But by him picking a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, for me, is an insult to then say that that's going to qualify you as for one of the biggest wins in boxing, and it's going to qualify you. I know he's probably just saying it for his followers, but I see that's an insult on Mike Tyson and what he's achieved, and it's an insult on boxing as a whole because you talking as it's one of the best wins. You put yourself in the same conversations of a lot of great fighters or a lot of great wins in boxing. It's not. It's if you had pick a prospect, any prospect, you had a prospect that's same fight as him or even a couple of fights, even a kid. If you had a prospect that a promoter bangs on about,
Mm-hmm.
and you picked a 58-year-old opponent for him, how would the response be for that prospect? Would he be lauded for it? And would it be like, oh, he's good, yeah, oh, what a win? Oh, no, wouldn't it be like, what the fuck are you doing? How are you be taken seriously? How is this sanctioned? You know, the other problem that I've got with this is that it's not being classed as an exhibition. It's an exhibition. You got 14-ounce gloves on,
8-2s as well, yeah.
8-2s, but you've got 14-ounce gloves on. How is this a professional fight that's going to go on your record and stack your record up in your standing so you can call out big names and you've earned the right for big fights? You're wearing 14-ounce gloves on. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. So this is my boxing head. I understand it from Jake Paul's point of view. He's doing everything he can for his life, his career. I get it, and I do not knock him for what he's created. Unbelievable. Oh, people say, "Oh yeah, you're only jealous." I'm not jealous. I rate him. I rate him, but I just don't like how that line crosses into insulting boxing by saying it's one of the biggest wins, by saying it's a professional contest when you're wearing 14-ounce gloves on. Wearing 14-ounce gloves, it's either 8 or 10-ounce gloves. That's the rules. Whoever sanctioned it and sanctioned it to be a contest, professional contest with foot. It's one of these again where money and stature talks. It's like that's bullshit, you know.
To be fair, I know you're not knocking Jake, and I guess that when you're talking about Jake Paul and what he's done, he's built this brand and he's talking to his minions, as you said, but he is given the platform and getting
Brilliant. Katie Taylor,
that's what I was going to say. Barrios, Bruce Carrington.
Don't get me wrong on what he's done for other people. When he puts these shows on, everybody else on the card is doing well out of the game. Brilliant. Yeah. I don't knock that. I think he's done fantastic. The money that them girls are getting paid, wow, amazing and fucking brilliant. You know, but and it is a quality fight. It's a real quality fight. So I don't knock what he's done, and I don't knock what he's doing, apart from the points that I've mentioned. The points that I've mentioned, I think are valid points. I don't think I'm out of line for saying it. I agree with you, Dave. Himself and his fans will think I'm hating or whatever like that. But you've got to be in a position where even whether you like somebody or you don't like somebody, you've got to be able to say, can't stand that kid. But do you know what? He's doing a great job there. He's smashing it there. And you've got to give him credit. Or you've got to be in a position where I love this guy. He's my man. He's such a big fan. Or I work with him. He's my pal. Whatever. I don't like how he's gone about doing that. I think he's wrong there. That, and it doesn't mean that you're having an ulterior emotion towards him. It just means you're calling it how you see it, and I'm calling it how I see it. Like you said, the promotions, he's got it on Netflix. I said beforehand, he's got it on Netflix. It's going to be amazing exposure. The guys and girls that are on the undercard, the exposure that they're getting is unbelievable, phenomenal, and it's brilliant for the sport. How many other fighters or promoters can get the fighters on Netflix? Zero.
Yep.
He's done a great job, not knocking it. So yeah, it's brilliant. More eyes to the sport and all that. And that's why I'm saying it's a little bit how I'm feeling. I'm also at the same time, yeah, but I get it because he's doing it for the hype, doing it for the brand, and you've got to do that. You know, everybody that's a salesman's got to talk a bit of shit. But then when I get that, but then when I get people saying, because they don't know boxing and they just hear what Jake Paul said or and then they're going to say, yeah, well, it beats Mike Tyson, and then he's going to get a shot at world title on that. And I'm like, I just want to chuck up. Like, fucking, that's where it kind of irritates. Well, not kind of, it does irritate.
I can see it does irritate you, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, I can see Tony Bellew behind you. Now, Tony Bellew is over there. I guess you saw, not physically behind you, but I guess you saw what Tony done. He got kicked out at the press conference the other day there with the security and everything like that. Now, Tony's probably one of the guys, he's probably one of the most, well, if you know Tony, you know he's not, he's quite calm and collected in and around those types of situations. But yeah, what did you make of all that this past week? Well, the press conference.
Firstly, the Paddy Power advert with Tony is brilliant.
Yep,
that's just hilarious. All the old guys in that are brilliant. It's a real, it's a fun take on the situation, and that's how it is. You know, you're looking at, you know, they're having a bit of fun about it. I didn't know he was going to turn up at a press conference. I think that was hilarious. That
with a mustache as well. Come on, Tony.
I know.
Well, it's November.
Yeah, it's November, but yeah, that mustache in his best look. But yeah, it was funny, and it was just a bit of fun. You got the fellow with him, you know, and it's just causing mischief. Obviously, Paddy Power behind it, so he's being looked after by them. I thought it was brilliant. It was great, great. And to be fair, you know, if it's pissed off Jake Paul, fair play.
Tony Bellew versus Jake Paul. Then now, if you're
Oh,
talking about,
go on.
I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there, Dave. I'm going to have to go there. Now, Tony Bellew said he plays golf a couple of times a week. He could probably he's what did he say? He was a wee bit heavy, plays golf a couple of times a week, and he said he doesn't even need to train for Jake Paul. I'm guessing as his old coach, you agree with that. And if they were to fight Tony Bellew, maybe he spends 4 weeks with you in a training camp, Dave. What happens?
It smashed the shit out of him. Come on, come on. Jake Paul, he's too young. He's had too much of a track record in boxing, and it's too dangerous for Jake Paul to even consider it. There's not a chance will he take that fight.
Mm.
And if he did, he'd get absolutely terrorized and sparked, banjoed, clean out. That's a fact. You've got to remember, listen, it is a while since Bellew's fought, but it's not 20 years. He's 41, he's not 58. You know, you're talking a lot of difference there. And he's always kept himself a little bit sharp. He's always been doing a bit of pad work. He's not, you know, it might be a bit heavier, you know, but he's still, yeah, he's still very capable. Trust me.
Listen, my money's on Bellew as well. To be honest,
I should hope so. If it weren't, then you're a dickhead. You got no right to be a boxing coach if it weren't.
Well, I'm pretty sure if I've done a 4 week camp, he doesn't need much from me and my knowledge. I'm pretty sure Bellew can do it all by himself against Jake Paul. Dave, we touched on it a little bit. Dan Toward out next week. Your stable's looking good again. You've got Stephen Cairns as well. I think he's out shortly as well, was he not?
December 6th, yeah.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, just a little breakdown on your fighters and what's coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Dan getting out next week in Newcastle. It's his hometown, so that'll be nice for him.
First time, right? First time as a pro?
Yeah, it'll bit of pressure for him there, a little bit different, but he's got to embrace the pressure. He's got to enjoy it, not tense up, not try too hard. So yeah, that'll be good because he's been getting some good work in the gym, coming on really well. He's only a young kid as well, so he's got a lot of time. Very, very talented fighter. So yeah, so looking forward to that. Stephen Cairns, he's just improving like all the time. He's just improving. They all do. They all work so hard, but his IQ is just developing constantly. Very excited about next year for him. Just gonna, Queensbury have got him out again to finish the year off on the show up in Liverpool. I think that's on Box Nation, that one. And then next year's going to be a good year. Taking another step up for next year. And then Laron's back December 15th again, just to get him out before the new year. Then it's an important year for him next year. Hope is now back injury free. Everything's touchwood. Everything seems to be good. He's had one good clear week now. The hip, ankle, everything. It's all great. The hip, the ankle, were all chain effects from the hand up, bone off the hip, goes onto the hand, caused stiffness in the hip, which then, because he was compensated there, the ankle was giving him problems. So I had to have a lot of rehab and a lot of work on those, and then believe it or not, he got a week. I got a week in the gym. He did, and then he was helping his dad in the garden moving some slabs. Dropped a fucking slab on his foot. Don't know how he didn't break his foot, shatter his foot, but his foot was like a balloon. It was like, so that put him back another 2 weeks. But we've just had a week in the gym, and it was great. So I'm happy about that. And then I'm just looking for a date in the new year for Ellis Price. Ellis Price, man, kid's going to be very good, real talent. Had some real quality sparring over the past few months. yeah, he's it's gonna be outstanding here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his development.
Perfect. It's all go, and hopefully 2025 is a big year for your stable. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, Dave. Dan Toward. For people that haven't seen Dan Toward fight, it's you're missing out. You really are.
Yeah,
Kid is
yeah, he's
very,
he's, he's
very
a very
talented.
good fighter. Like, he's not arrogant, but he's very quiet out of the ring. That when he gets in the ring,
Mm.
the showman side comes out a little bit, but he's very spiteful. He's not one of these that just he's a showman, but just wants to hit, move, and not and just throw tippy tappy shots. The thing with him
Mhm.
that I've been working on is to not try and kill you with every shot,
Mm.
and vary the punches up because he's very spiteful. So yeah, he's going to be a fun watch, and his fights on live on Channel 5, and I believe it's on a good time slot where you're not falling asleep in your chair.
Yeah, like last time, I believe. Yep, if we remember
Yeah,
correctly. Dave, listen, I've got a light middleweight and a middleweight. I'll bring down one day for some sparring at some point.
bring him down.
Yeah, that'll be good experience, not just for them, but for me as well. So we'll bring them down at some point. I'll message you maybe in December or the New Year or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Once the
definitely.
fights, and we'll get something sorted. Dave, as always, you talk from the heart, and that's why I always want to speak to you, my friend. And
Gets me in trouble.
gets you in trouble. That's why I keep calling. I'll see you next. I'll see you next week, Dave. And yeah, thanks a lot for this. I appreciate it.
Nice one, mate. Cheers. See you
Thank you,
later.
sir. Thank you, mate.